Am I the asshole for exposing my deceased husband's entire secret life? I thought I knew everything about my husband until he died, suddenly, without warning, and left behind a key. Not to a drawer, not to our home, but to a life I never knew existed. Marcus was my everything. Brilliant, kind, stable. When he died, it felt like the world cracked open beneath me. But grief was only the beginning. While sorting through his study, I found it, a small, ornate key hidden inside a secret compartment in his desk. Something told me instantly, this wasn't a keepsake. This was a secret he never intended me to find. That key led me to an old, overgrown garage on the outskirts of town, a place Marcus never once mentioned. Inside, beneath dusty sheets, I expected junk, tools, maybe an old car. What I found instead stopped me cold. Photographs. Dozens of them, framed, organized, and in every single one, Marcus, laughing, alive, with a woman I didn't know and a boy who looked exactly like him. Her name was Serafina. The boy's was Leo. My husband had a secret family. And everything I thought I knew about my marriage, every memory, every moment, was a lie. And that was just the beginning. As the initial shock began to morph into a searing, desperate need for answers, a need that consumed every fiber of my being, I delved deeper into the garage's grim secrets. I found ledgers, thick and leather-bound, tucked away in a rusty filing cabinet. They were filled with cryptic financial transactions, columns of numbers that spiraled into astronomical sums. The figures were staggering, far, far beyond anything Marcus's known income as a successful architect could possibly account for. It screamed of dark dealings, of something illicit and dangerous, a shadowy undercurrent that ran deeper than I could possibly imagine. And then, amongst the financial records, I found medical documents. They detailed a severe, rapidly progressing hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a heart condition that Marcus had been secretly battling for years. He hadn't just died suddenly. He had been living on borrowed time. His death an inevitability that he chose to keep entirely to himself, isolating himself in his private battle. This wasn't just a secret family. It was a life woven with threads of deep, systemic deception, shadowed by alarming financial irregularities, and ending in a quiet, solitary medical battle that he fought alone. Just as I was trying to process this monumental betrayal, this utter demolition of my reality, my own sister, Clara, arrived. She presented herself as my rock, my emotional support, seemingly there to offer comfort, to help me through my profound grief. But something felt profoundly off. Her eyes darted around the house. She was jumpy, overly solicitous, and her attempts at sympathy felt brittle, almost performative. Then, during a particularly fraught and emotionally charged conversation about Marcus's legacy, about the empty space he left behind, the most shocking truth emerged. Clara, fidgeting nervously, revealed she was pregnant. And the father? With a cold, sickening dread that permeated every cell in my body, I pressed her, my voice barely a whisper, until she finally broke down in a torrent of guilt-ridden tears. It was Marcus, my own sister, my own husband. The betrayal was so profound, so personal, so utterly repugnant. It felt like a physical tearing of my very soul. How could two people I loved, two people I trusted implicitly, two people who were supposed to be my closest kin, have conspired in such a horrific, sickening deceit? Driven by a desperate, all-consuming need for all the answers, for every last painful detail, I found an unexpected ally in young Leo. He was just as lost and hurting as I was, a small, bewildered boy grappling with the incomprehensible truth about his father, the man he had adored. Despite our complicated, painful connection, me, the legitimate wife, him, the secret son, there was an unspoken understanding between us, a shared burden of grief and confusion that transcended the messy circumstances. Together, we returned to that eerie garage, now a site of morbid fascination rather than dread. We uncovered more hidden compartments, more layers to Marcus's chillingly elaborate deception. We found a secret will, meticulously detailed, specifying assets I never knew existed, and a series of video messages from Marcus himself. Watching them was an agonizing ordeal, a raw, unflinching glimpse into a mind I thought I knew. In these recordings, a truly different Marcus emerged, not the man I thought I knew, nor the seemingly happy, carefree man in the photos with Serafina. This was a man deeply trapped by circumstances, revealing Clara's incredibly manipulative nature, her insatiable, corrosive greed, and her undeniable, chilling role in Serafina's mysterious disappearance years ago. It seemed Serafina hadn't simply left, she had been silenced, removed from the picture, perhaps by Clara's insidious machinations to clear the way for her own claim on Marcus's life and the illicit wealth he had accumulated. Faced with the devastating, ugly truth of Marcus's elaborate deception and the dangerous, poisonous web of secrets he had woven around all of us, I knew, with a clarity born of pain, what I had to do. The grief for the Marcus I thought I knew was still there, a dull ache, but it was now overshadowed by a cold, righteous anger that hardened my resolve. I had to expose everything, not for petty revenge, not for fleeting satisfaction, but for justice. For Serafina, whose life was taken, for Leo, who deserved to know the truth about his mother and father, and for myself, to reclaim my dignity and my future from the wreckage of Marcus's lies. The path ahead was terrifyingly uncertain, fraught with potential legal battles, public scrutiny, the complete dismantling of my entire former life, and the likely destruction of Clara's. But as I stood there, clutching the irrefutable evidence, I felt a strange, burgeoning sense of empowerment. I chose to walk away from the illusion of my past, from the perfect life that was anything but, embracing a future, however fraught with challenges, built on brutal honesty and the painful but ultimately liberating truth. The truth, no matter how ugly, would set us all free, and I was going to ensure it did. So, here I am, asking you, Reddit, Am I the asshole for tearing down the facade of my deceased husband's entire secret life, knowing it would unravel everything for everyone involved, especially my own sister?